Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to solve the polynomial inequalities. There are two different ways to solve a polynomial inequality. The first way, we're going to solve it with a graphing calculator. So if we given a graph, how can we solve it? So we look at this one. When we write f of s, we are referring to the y value on the graph of f of s, right? If the function greater than 0, which means the graph of f of s is above the x-axis. If the function f of s is less than 0, which means the graph of f of s is below the x-axis, right? Now look at the example right here. The question asks us, when does f of s equal to 0? Which means they ask us to find the 0 of the polynomial function. Alright, so we have the first 0 right here, the second 0 right here, and the third 0 right here. So it's going to be s equal to -3, -1, and 3. Right? Now, where is f of s greater than 0? Now, f of s greater than 0 if the function above the x-axis. Now, f of s is greater than 0 if the function is above the x-axis, right? So we look at this one, the function is above the x-axis, it could be this guy right here. And this guy right here. Alright, now we always write this one is positive infinitive and this one is negative infinitive. This one is negative infinitive and this one is positive infinitive. Alright, so the function is above the x-axis when s belongs to the interval -3 and -1, right? So we have -3, -1. Now keep in mind, we don't have the equal sign, right? So if we don't have the equal sign, we don't include the endpoints, right? If we have the equal sign, we include the endpoints and we change the parentheses into bracket. So keep that in mind, okay? Union. The graph keeps going up and further to the right, which means s go into infinitive. So it's going to be 3 to infinitive. Right? Now question C. Where is f of s less than or equal to 0? Right? So less than or equal to 0, which means this guy must be below the x-axis. So below the x-axis, which means this guy right here. This guy right here. Alright, so we look for the interval, right? It's going to be -infinitive to -3, right? So it could be -infinitive to -3. Because we have the equal sign right here, so we must include the 0, right? So the 0 right here, -3, we change the parentheses into the bracket. So it's going to be like this, union, right? -1 to 3, right? So it could be -1 to 3. Now, what if you're not allowed to use a graphing calculator to solve polynomial inequalities? So how do we do it? Algebraically. So let's take a look at the first example right here. We have f of s is s squared minus 5s plus 4, right? And they ask us to solve f of s less than or equal to 0, right? So basically, this one less than or equal to 0, right? The first thing you need to do is to factor this one, right? So in order to factor this one, I'm going to use S method. Alright, so I'm going to put C right here, which means 4, and B right here, which means -5. I need to find two integers multiply equal to -4 add up to -5, which means -4 and -1, right? So this one right here I just rewrite as -4 times as -1 less than equal to 0. Alright. Now the second step, I need to find the 0 of this one, right? So as -4 equal to 0, and then s equal to 4. S -1 equal to 0, then s equal to 1, right? The third step is I'm going to draw a number line. Okay. Now I need to rearrange the 0 on the number line in increasing order. So I start from 1 and then I'm going to end up with 4, right? Now the left hand side right here, I need to put the negative infinitive. The right hand side right here, it should be positive infinitive. Alright, these are two 0 of the polynomial function. Right? I'm going to test the value. I'm going to pick a number within this interval or this interval or this interval, right? So I found this interval easy for me because I can pick a 0, right? 0 is going to be inside this interval. I'm going to substitute into this one right here. So I have 0 right here, 0 right here. So I have 0 minus 4 is going to be -4. 0 minus 1 is going to be -1. So I'm going to multiply this one up. It should be -4 times -1, which means 4. 4 is positive, right? So I put the positive side right here. Alright. Now, I don't need to test this one. I look at this one right here. I see that they all have multiplicity 1. Alright, so I keep changing the sign. Right? This guy plus sign, this guy is negative, and this guy plus sign. Alright, so I look at this one. I need this inequality less than or equal to 0. So less than or equal to 0, I pick this guy right here because this is negative, right? And I have equal sign, so which means I need to include 2 0, right? So my answer must be this guy and this guy right here. So I have 1, 4. Right, because I need to include 0, right? Because I have less than or equal sign, so I include 1 and 4. So my answer must be interval 1 and 4. That's it. Now let's take a look at the second example. So I have g of s equal s squared plus 17s plus 70. And then I need to solve for g of s greater than or equal to 0. So I have s squared plus 17s plus 70, right? And this one must be greater than or equal to 0, right? So now I need to factor this one. So I need to use s method right here. Alright, I'm going to put c right here, which means 70. I put b right here, which means 17. I need to find two integers multiply equals 70, add up to 17, which means 7 and 10, right? So this one can be written as s plus 7 times s plus 10 greater than or equal to 0. Now the next step is I need to find the 0, right? So in order to find the 0 of this one, I just let this one equal to 0. So I have s equal to -7. This one, s plus 10 equals to 0, so s equals -10, right? Now I need to put 2 zeros on the number line, right? In an increasing order, right? So I have -10 go first, -10 and -7 right here. So I need to put the positive infinity right here and negative infinity right here. Right at these two numbers, the function equal to 0. I put 0 right here, right? Now, so I need to test the value, right? So I have 3 intervals, 1, 2, and 3, right? Now I pick a number within 3 intervals right here. So I can pick 0 right here, right? So I substitute 0 into this inequality. So I have 0 right here, 0 right here. So I'm going to end up with 7 and 10. 7 times 10 equals 70. So which means this interval is positive, right? Look at this one. I only see the multiplicity 1 right here, right? So I keep changing the sign, right? So this is plus sign, this guy negative, and this is plus sign. If you keep testing this interval, you still get the same answer right here. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to find the value of s such that the inequality greater than or equal to 0, right? So I must pick the positive interval. So this guy and this guy right here, right? So my interval should be negative infinity, comma, and negative 10 right here, right? Because I have equal sign, which means I need to include negative 10. So I put a bracket right here, and this is the parenthesis. Keep that in mind. When it comes to positive and negative infinitive, you must use parentheses only, okay? And this one right here, union negative 7 and infinitive right here. Right at infinitive, we're going to use parentheses. Right at negative 7, we use the bracket right here because we have equal sign. Now, let's take a look at the example number 3 right here. So, we need to solve for s minus 7 times s minus 1 square less than or equal to 0. Alright, the first step is to factor this one, but this one is already in the factor form, so we don't need to factor this one anymore, right? The second step is to find 0 of this one, so you just let this one equal to 0, you have s equal to 7. Let this one equal to 0, you have s equal to 1, right? Now you need to put these two guys on the number line, right? So I need to put 1 right here, and I need to put 7 right here, right? Don't forget to include positive infinitive and negative infinitive, right? So these are two zeros of the polynomial function, so we have put 0 right here. Now I have 3 intervals right here, right? The first, the second, and the third one right here. Now I need to pick a number within 3 intervals right here, and I'm going to test the sign, right? So I pick 0 right here, right? So I substitute 0 over here. I have negative 7 times negative 1 all together squared, right? So this could be negative 7 times 1, and this could be negative 7, which means negative sign, right? So right here, the function is negative, right? Now keep in mind, right at 1 right here, the 0 is 1 right here, multiplicity 2. So whenever you see the multiplicities of even number, the function does not change the sign because the function just powers off the x-axis. So if you have the x-axis like this, the function either go this way like this or go like this, right? So if this guy negative, this guy must be negative. And right at this number right here, we have multiplicity 1. So the function keeps changing the sign. So this is negative, this guy must be positive. Alright, so keep that in mind. Now the solution, we need less than or equal to 0, right? So this should be this guy right here, right? So we have negative infinitive. Now let's move on to example number 4. To solve this one, so we have s cubed plus 9s squared plus 18s greater than or equal to 0. The first thing we need to do is to factor this guy. So I need to factor s out. So I have s times s squared plus 9s plus 18 greater than equal to 0. And I have quadratic right here. I need to factor this one out. So I need to use the S method. So I have 18 right here. I have 9 right here. I need to find two integers that multiply equals 18 add up to 9. So I have 3 and 6, right? So I have s times s plus 3 times s plus 6 greater than or equal to 0. Now I need to find the zeros of this, right? So I need to find the zero of this one, right? So I have s equal to 0. The second one, s plus 3 equal to 0, so s equal to negative 3. The third one, s plus 6 equal to 0, so s equal to negative 6, right? Now I need to draw a number line. So I need to put this guy on the number line. So I start from negative 6, negative 3, and 0. Right, the left hand side should be negative infinity, the right hand side must be positive infinity. Right, so I have 3 zeros right here, so I put 0, 0, 0, right? Now I need to test, so I look at this one, they all have multiplicity 1, right? So I just test one value and I keep changing the sign, right? So I have 1 interval, 2 interval, 3 interval, and 4 interval. Now I need to pick a number within this interval, right? So I'm going to pick 1 right here, right? So 1 I substitute over here, so I have 1 times 4, right, times 7. So it could be positive, right? So this guy positive, and I keep changing the sign, negative, positive, and negative. So I need the greater than or equal to, right? So I need this guy right here and this guy right here, right? So I need to include the 0 because I have the equal sign, right? So it should be negative 6 to negative. Now let's move on to question 5 right here. So we need to solve for a of s greater than or equal to 0. So we have s times s minus 8 power of 3 times s plus 3 power of 4 greater than or equal to 0. Alright, so this one already is the factor form, so we don't need to factor anymore, right? We need to find the zeros only, right? So I need to find the first zero. So first one s equal to 0. This one s minus 8 equal to 0. I need to solve for s, so s equal to 8. The third one, s plus 3 equal to 0. So then s equal to negative 3, right? Now I need to draw a number line. Alright, so I need to put this guy on the number line. Right, the first one should be negative 3, second one should be 0, and the third one should be 8. The left hand side must be negative infinity, the right hand side must be positive infinity. Alright, so these are 0, so I put 0 right here. Alright, now I need to test value, right? So I have 1 interval, 2 interval, 3 interval, and 4 interval, right? So I'm going to pick this guy right here. I pick 1 right here, right, between 0 and 8. I substitute over here. So I have 1 times 1 minus 8 is going to be negative 7 power of 3, right? And then times 1 plus 3 power of 4, right? I don't need to calculate this one, but I know the fact that negative 7 power of 3 should be negative number, and multiply this one should be negative. So the answer is right here must be negative, right? Okay. Now I look at h right here, and look at the factor right here, s minus 8 power of 3. So when we see the odd power, the sign keep changing. Alright, so this guy negative, this guy must be positive. Now go back to 0 right here. 0 right here, which means the 0 of this factor right here. So this guy power of 1, right? So the sign keep changing right here. Alright, now the last one, right at negative 3, it's going to be right here. And you see that multiplicity is for this is even power. So any function passing the 0 with the multiplicity of even number, the sign does not change. So this guy positive, this guy must be positive. So keep that in mind. Alright, so we need greater than or equal to 0, right? So which means we need this guy and we need this guy. Alright, so we just write negative infinity to 0, and then this is the bracket union bracket 8 to positive infinity. Now let's take a look at number 6 right here. So we need to solve for negative s times s plus 4 square times s plus 1 times s minus 6 power of 6 less than or equal to 0. So we look at this one, we see the negative side right here. We need to convert this one into positive sides, right? So we need to multiply both sides by negative 1. So when you multiply both sides of the inequality by a negative number, we need to change the inequality side right here. So it turns out to be greater than or equal to 0. 0 times negative 1 should be 0. And this guy become positive. So s times s plus 4 square times s plus 1 times s minus 6 square, right? And then we need to find the 0 of this one. So we have the first 0 s equal to 0, right? Now the second 0 is going to be s plus 4 equal to 0, so s equal to negative 4. On the AB exam, you must show your work, okay? Right? The third one, we have s plus 1 equal to 0, so we have s equal to negative 1. And the last one, we have s minus 6 equal to 0, so s equal to 6, right? Now we have a number line. So we need to put every single 0 on the number line from the lowest to highest number, right? So it's going to be negative 4 right here, negative 1 right here, 0 right here, and 6 right here. Right, the left hand side we're going to put the negative infinity, the right hand side is positive infinity. So we have 4 0, we put 0 right here. Okay, alright, so we're going to pick a number to test the value, right? So I'm going to pick a number 1 right here. I substitute over here, so I have 1 times 1 plus 4 square times 1 plus 1 times 1 minus 6 square, right? I look at this one, 1 minus 6, it could be negative 5. Negative 5 square is going to be 25. So multiply this guy, it should be positive. I don't need to calculate it. I just need to know if it's positive or negative. So this guy is positive, right? So positive is going to be positive side right here. Alright, so now I need to be carefully to check the sign of each interval right here, right? Now, right at 6, I look at 6 right here. This is even power, right? So this guy even power, which means the size does not change, right? So if the function pass the 0 right here, the size is still positive, right? So it's positive right here. And look at the next one, 0 right here. So 0 right here, this is the multiplicity 1. So this guy keeps changing, right? So this is negative. Now, negative 1 right here, I look at this one right here. It should be, the multiplicity is 1, right? So this is odd power, right? The sign keeps changing, right? So this is positive. And the last one, I look at this one right here. The 0 is negative 4 right here. And I have the even power right here, which means multiplicity 2. The sign does not change, right? So this is plus sign. This should be plus sign right here. Alright. Now, my answer is greater than or equal to 0, right? So I have this guy right here and this guy right here. So the answer should be negative infinity, comma, negative 1, right? This is the bracket right here, union, bracket 0 to infinity. Let's move on to the last example. Alright, question 21. A polynomial function has 3 real zeros and 4 non-real zeros. One of the real zeros has a multiplicity of 6. What is the degree of the polynomial? Alright, so we have 3 real zeros, right? But one of them has multiplicity of 6. So we only have 2 real zeros with the degree of 2, right? And then 1 real zero with the degree of 6. And then we have 4 non-real 0, degree of 4, right? So we add this guy up, it's going to be 12. Now question 22. The polynomial function g is given as minus 6 times s squared plus 2s plus 2. Which of the following describes the zero of g? Now we need to factor this one first. So we have s squared plus 2s plus 2, right? Alright, so we need to split 2s, s squared plus 2s plus 1 plus 1. Alright, so we're going to use the first three terms right here. And then we complete this one as a complete square. So it could be s plus 1 all together square plus 1. Alright, this guy always greater than equal to 0, right? And then when you add 1, it's going to be always greater than equal to 1, right? So this polynomial right here cannot be equal to 0, right? So if it cannot be equal to 0, you cannot factor this one, right? So you must have two imaginary root, right? So two non-real zeros. Alright, so this one you have 1 real 0 s equal to 6. So the answer is g has exactly one distinct real 0 and two non-real 0. So the answer is D. And it's good time to stop. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that if you failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine.